or their transport rates to assist with the national logistics efforts during the emergency response phase. Mobile gas units. Madam Speaker, the Ministry has noted a clear growing demand for portable fuel stations, a need intensified by Hurricane Melissa's disruption of regular fuel access in several Western communities. In response, government is reviewing the current regulatory framework, conducting gap analysis, and initiating the development of a comprehensive policy that supports flexibility and innovation in the fuel access. This process will maintain the highest standards of public safety while ensuring swift action to meet urgent community needs. To this end, we have entered into partnerships guaranteed to support the most vulnerable. Madam Speaker, I want to remind my colleagues here and the Jamaican public at large that we are no longer in normal times. We are in extreme times, and extreme times require extreme actions. The rollout of Johnson's Petroleum mobile mini fuel stations has advanced significantly following detailed site assessments conducted the week of November 17 to 21. Units for the fishing villages of White House in Westmoreland and Black River in St. Elizabeth are fully complete and ready for deployment, and licenses from Petrojam are already in hand. Beyond fishing communities, rollout to other priority areas will begin in the week of the 26th and 27th, 26th being Black River, and the 27th being Braze River. Also middle quarters on the 28th. Additional locations will be announced next week as remaining site assessments are finalized. Let me just pause to say that these are not permanent. We will move them once ordinary restoration is there for gas stations and move them to other areas that have challenges in terms of distance to get to the regular gas stations. I'm also happy to state, Madam Speaker, that despite major disruption to the Paradise solar facility, I have been told by InterEnergy Group that they have completed assessments and begun cleanup and issued the RFQs for replacement equipment and reaffirmed its commitment to full reconstruction in support of Jamaica's renewable energy future. I'm also pleased to report that the JUTC CNG facility sustained no damaging. Commissioning tests will begin on November 28th, with full operation expected in the first week of December. Also want to indicate that the Dr. Bird plant, through the Jamaica Private Power Company and West Kingston Power Partners, remained fully operational throughout the storm, providing crucial stability to the grid. Madam Speaker, move on to transport. Efficient and uninterrupted transport is vital in the immediate aftermath of a disaster. It ensures that life-saving aid equipment and technical support can reach affected communities without delay. In regards to this, Madam Speaker, I now turn to the matter of the toll access during the national recovery. The Toll Authority lifted barriers for toll exemptions traveling from the 26th of October, returning to normal operations on November 17th, with continued exemptions for vehicles transporting relief supplies. By November 24th, the authority had received 2,227 applications, with 700 approved, alongside the launch of a new online application portal. However, toll operators have since restricted exemption to Class 3 vehicles, which are trucks. That is the biggest class, carrying verified humanitarian aid. Class 1 and 2 vehicles can only pass under cost-sharing arrangements, limiting the movement of essential responders and partners. Madam Speaker, the authority advises me that the greater flexibility is legally available under the Toll Roads Act, Section 2, which empowers the Minister to define emergency services, and Section 8 enables the Minister to designate toll-exempt emergency users by Toll Authority. Accordingly, I have received a request from the Toll Authority to issue such an order to cover ODPEM, NARA, ministers and their close protection officers, members of parliament, especially those in the affected areas, and councillors and their protection officers, relevant government agencies and international and local relief partners.
House Leader, the member's time for speaking has expired.
Madam Speaker, with the member's time for speaking having expired, we ask that it be extended by 30 minutes to give the member sufficient time to complete the statement.
House, the question is that the member's time be extended by 30 minutes to allow for completion of this critical statement. Those in favor? Those against? Ayes have it.
Madam Speaker, that's why I purposely left JPS to last, because I'm sure that everybody will remain attentive to hear the good news. So, Madam Speaker, the authority stands ready to support the issuance and implementation of this toll order to facilitate a smoother, more efficient national recovery effort. And I'm saying, Madam Speaker, that it is with a heavy pen that I will have to do so if I have to do it, because I think that the concessionaires, especially in light of the challenges that we are facing and still face, especially in the West, could have been more flexible in relation to working out a regime that would be easier for relief in terms of the cost and also the access to get down into these areas. Madam Speaker, JUTC is back up and running, averaging 430 regular weekday runs and 60 premium services. The rural school bus is back up in areas where schools are open and roads are open. Montego Bay Metro, the same. Madam Speaker, airports, and I want everybody to listen to me carefully. Both Sangster International Airport and Norman Manley International Airport have remained fully operational since reopening on October 29, continuing to support passenger cargo and humanitarian flights. Between the 29th of October and November 23rd, the airports collectively handled approximately 2,238 flights, including 1,044 commercial flights and 621 relief flights, along with 573 private or general aviation movements, underscoring their critical role in the recovery process. The volume of air traffic reflects the significant inflow of international aid, technical assistance, and essential supplies being coordinated through both terminals. Air operations remain stable, with humanitarian and cargo support ongoing, ensuring that food and medical supplies and fuel and equipment reach affected communities efficiently without interruption. Madam Speaker, I want to pause here to indicate that Norman Manley International Airport was open within 24 hours of the passing of Melissa. I want to indicate that despite the damage that Sangster Airport had in Montego Bay, I arrived there on the 29th of October, and we opened it within 72 hours. Nothing else was more important than that, because if you couldn't land relief items, we wouldn't be able to respond at all. And I want to stop, despite all the noise, to give full kudos to all of the persons and the apparatus at the airport, customs, immigration, the cargo handlers, everybody who worked tirelessly to facilitate those flights, which are more than normal days, twice in some cases, with shortage of equipment and all that goes with it. And yet still, we were able to deliver and continue to deliver on a daily basis without any credible complaints or reports. Let me put it no stronger than that. So I praise them, because this could not happen without their commitment and hard work. And I say to them, job well done. Madam Speaker, the seaports have now become critical because the bottom line is that the wharves had to be tested prior to any ship being able to land. So we were dependent only on air. Now, over the last 2 weeks, we have started to receive sea freight, which is coming in steady, which carries a lot more relief items and recovery items to sustain the drive to help as many people as we can. So I say that to say that they have gone further and basically to support the national recovery and diaspora contributions, all aid carrier benefits from a 20% discount, underscoring the shipping line's commitment to timely, efficient, and humanitarian-focused operations. Madam Speaker, there are more than 1,000 empty containers currently sitting idle in the Kingston Harbor. These containers represent more unused steel. They represent over 1,000 potential rapid deployment, temporary homes with manageable retrofitting for light ventilation and sanitation. We are working with our partners, the shipping agencies, who own these, to see what can happen, whether or not we can get access to some of them, even if it is as a temporary solution for those who don't even have a tarpaulin over their head 3 weeks later. I am looking forward to getting that response, but that is a good idea because they are sitting there facing the elements of the salt air every day, and they have been there for many months and will probably will remain there for many more months. I look forward to a favorable response. I have written formally to each of them, and all of them have said that they will come back to me in short order. Madam Speaker, Jamaica's telecommunications sector has shown remarkable strength and responsiveness. Our providers have acted with urgency and purpose to reconnect the nation, bringing back mobile data and fixed services in record time, even in the hardest hit communities. On top of that, we have benefited from the international and regional technical support through the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency, SEDEMA, in concert with the World Food Programme and the International Telecommunications Union emergency telecommunications specialists who were mobilized to assist with rapid network assessment and restoration of critical communication links. Additional leading telecom operators have paired their restoration work with humanitarian outreach, distributing solar lanterns, and of course, mobile charging stations and emergency SIM and data packages. Madam Speaker, Starlink, and I want to pause here to give Starlink the biggest big up, because they have been a savior in this crisis in terms of being able to communicate. As of the 19th of November, 561 generators have been delivered to critical areas, including Trelawney, Hanover, St. Elizabeth. Starlink devices continue to reach the most affected communities, with 659 of 867 that has been received, already allocated, and 74% activated. Consistently online, Starlink themselves, who sent a team here, Madam Speaker, to Jamaica immediately after, have donated over 900 kits, provided free service to roughly 21,000 users, and enabled nearly 490,000 text messages since the hurricane made landfall. The demand for the terminals have surged tenfold, and coordinated efforts between the Government of Jamaica, Starlink, and logistic partners are ensuring rapid delivery to communities, keeping residents connected and supporting both humanitarian and recovery operations across the island. Madam Speaker, I just got before coming here, since Melissa, there has been 11,000 Starlinks imported into Jamaica. So much so that it created a backlog. As you know, DHL is who handles everything and delivers to the customer. I had to work with Customs to put in a special regime where DHL posts their bond so that Minister Williams is assured of our money. And we release them. If not, they would be there for weeks, because as quickly as they come out is as quickly as they come back in. And I'm happy to say that it is working, because the complaints to me have gone down to almost zero. And again, I congratulate Customs and the DHL for working together in extreme times to make extreme measures without breaching any of the procedures and the systems that are in place. Madam Speaker, it doesn't stop there, because Starlink has supported both Digicel and Flow in order to bring up back some of their networks in areas that would not come up for weeks and months based on the level of damage. Once again, the partnership is there and has worked, and I want to say publicly, thank you to Starlink for sending a team down here, for staying here, for coordinating with us, and helping us as best as possible to make sure. The only thing I wait on now is to hear my invitation to Mr. Elon Musk when he will be coming to visit us, to give us even more assistance. Madam Speaker, I touch quickly on Digicel. As of November 24th, they have brought back approximately 76% of its mobile network online, with 90% of Digicel Plus customers with service. Key progress has been made in restoring connectivity, with the newest communities now back online across Hanover, Manchester, St. James, and Westmoreland. Notable areas including Lucy, Cocoa Walk, Cambridge, the Half Moon area, Bethel Town, reflecting steady nationwide recovery and the continued commitment to ensuring reliable service for affected areas. Flow, Jamaica, reports similar upward trajectory, with approximately 60% of fixed sites and 71% of mobile sites now operational as of Monday, November 24th. Restoration is quickly advancing in parts of Trelawney and Westmoreland. 3 critical transport links have been restored along the Port Antonio to Nutter Bay, Mandeville to Santa Cruz, and Port Antonio to Morant Bay routes. Technical teams continue restoration efforts, bringing mobile sites back online in several communities in Westmoreland, St. Mary, Portland, Clarendon, and Manchester, reflecting steady progress for connectivity. Madam Speaker, one of the biggest hindrances for them is power. The sooner that they get back power, which I'll soon touch on, is the quicker that the telcos will be back up in almost all areas across Jamaica. Madam Speaker, 2 more things before I touch to the real one that everybody is waiting to hear about. ATMs are very critical, because if you don't have money in a time like this, you don't have any talk. A credit card don't work, promissory note don't work, and man want them cash for them goods, and you can't do nothing without cash. So we have made a special push through the Jamaica Bankers Association. 78% of ATMs, 704 of 907 are now back in service, along with 78% of point-of-sale terminals, representing 18,501 devices restored. Recovery remains uneven across parishes. ATM stands at 59.6% in St. James, 38.1% in Trelawney, 48.6% in Westmoreland, but banks continue to restore service wherever physical access, power, and telecommunications can safely be secured. We are still working between Starlink, generators, GPS, to get as much more up as possible, especially in the 5 most affected parishes, because without that and without light, they will see no Christmas. They will have nothing to be able to see with their eyes and buy with their money. Universal Service Fund, critical, especially for those areas. Again, Melissa caused disruption to the USF public Wi-Fi network of 408 community hotspots. Only 72 remained online. and the western parishes suffered a total loss of all 156 sites, cutting off thousands from education, communication, and emergency support. In response, the USF has rapidly shifted to Starlink satellite systems powered by solar energy, allowing fast off-grid restoration where traditional infrastructure collapsed. In just 14 days, engineers have restored in 17 hard-hit communities across Westmoreland, Hanover, St. Elizabeth and St. James, Manchester, Trelawney, and St. Anne. We aim to deploy at least 90 Starlink sites by mid-December, supported by private sector technicians now helping. This will allow the fund to begin restoration in central and eastern parishes. The recovery effort is estimated at $863 million, covering satellite equipment, solar power systems, and installation services, an investment that strengthens Jamaica's digital resilience moving forward. So, Madam Speaker, again, those community Wi-Fis are even more important than ever in this disaster because those places are in remote areas that MPs chose off the beaten track. And if they can have that Wi-Fi so those kids can do some homework, speak to your family, go on social media and do the usual thing like what my colleague over here does every day. Ian. Every day. 863 million is what it's going to cost to redo all of the damage for the... My own has 863, so that one was done for you. Madam Speaker, members, let me move now to what I think is the most critical aspect of the presentation and the most critical aspect of any chance of quick restoration for the country to come back to some level of normalcy and for the relief and rebuild efforts to really get underway. And that is the issue of electricity. I deliberately left this for the last. As we know, the JPS service license expires, and the license request requires that the government indicates its intention by July 2025. To call the government's position was upon expiration of the current Owl Island license not to renew under existing terms. It's important to point out and remind Jamaica that failure for the government to have responded would have given the JPS an automatic 10-year extension to the existing license of 10 years. So understand what that means in English. If the government did not respond with a position by July 2025, automatically a 10-year extension. So you'd be talking about a license that was given in 2001, renewed in 2016, which expires in 2027, to go from 2027 to 2037 under the same existing conditions. I am not going back. Today is Melissa Day. September 3rd gone. So we're not going to talk about how we got there. We're going to talk about how we're going to fix it. Right. So understand now that Melissa hit. And when Melissa hit, there's a need for restoration. The restoration requires money. The Emergency Disaster Fund, which is what you would call the self-insurance for the distribution and transmission line of the JPS, which is not insured because it's uninsurable, is what we have used for Daryl and for Melissa and for all the other events that we have had in recent years. So, as of right now, that fund, based on the claims that have been made already, to prepare for Melissa, has been exhausted. So it means that the JPS has 2 years on a license, and they have to raise money to restore. Several iterations, several proposals. One, JPS wants a 15-year extension. And they get 15-year extension, they will do what they need to do to find the money. Other one is that multilaterals are prepared to give them money, but they want at least 8 to 10 years extension. Where does that put us? That put us in two situations. One, a commitment that was made by this minister and this government in June of this year that any new license would be on new terms. A commitment that was made, a commitment that will stand, and no Melissa, no Trelisa, no Belinda is going to change that. So the government is now in a position now, what do we do? Because we need restoration. JPS is saying that the earliest restoration time that they can give us for the worst affected areas is April to May 2026. Can you imagine when you tell a minister that? And on top of which, they want an extended license. That is going to mean that we are in the same situation. Well, Madam Speaker, my colleagues here, many, many hours, many discussions. Cabinet, not once. Cabinet, not twice. Cabinet 3 times, including yesterday morning. And the decision, thanks to the help and the input of the Ministry of Finance, specifically Minister Williams, and the Financial Secretary, and of course, the new Minister of Efficiency, we were able to work out yesterday and get approved by Cabinet an agreement to fast-track the restoration to end of January, latest early February. Don't clap yet. Don't clap yet.
If they don't clap, they don't get it.
On the basis that the government of Jamaica is not prepared to negotiate any extension of any license other than the process that is going to take us from now until 2027 when this existing license expires. But based on the fact that we need restoration as a country in the shortest possible time, the government of Jamaica has agreed to loan the JPS $150 million United States dollars on the basis that they will use that money, which is estimated at $75 million a month, to restore the entire grid, save and except for any special area that may not be reachable, but the major areas by the end of January, latest early February. What are the terms to make sure that the government and the taxpayers are fully protected? 5 years with an interest rate to be negotiated by the Ministry of Finance, which I'm sure will be a reasonable interest rate, because the higher the interest rate is the more it's going to pass on to the consumer. And we are cognizant of that. However, they can pay as early as 2 years. Why? Because 2 years the license expires. They'll either have a renewed license or they won't have a license. If they have a license, they can attract financing. And if they don't have a license, the government has already indicated to them, based on our July 2025 letter, that we are prepared to acquire the assets of the Jamaica Public Service, which means that our money is protected fully. So there is no risk to the Jamaican government or the taxpayers. What we have done is skillfully separated a negotiation of a loan and untied from all of these proposals of extensions. I want to point out to you very carefully, any negotiation that involved the license or amendment of license would retard the period of time when we need to get the money. We need to get the money to them or give them a commitment by tomorrow morning after we announce this today, because the cabinet decision is out. And they have committed that they will have 300 linesmen. They now have 170, all in white truck. And big thick man, you see. That's 170. But those 170 are trying to get back the biggest areas of production for the government, Montego Bay. So all the other areas in my friends and colleagues' hard-hit parishes are not getting the attention that they would get. And it's not because of anything other than what has to happen in order to get the country up and running. Can you imagine, members, in 2 weeks' time, 300 more linesmen with equipment, same trucks you see and same everything you see, having 500 linesmen additional to what JPS has as their normal crew, spread across Jamaica. The commitment that I'm making to you here, that JPS has committed to me, that they can have those trucks and men here by the second week of December, and that by Christmas morning, Grand Market night, they are committing, especially in the hardest hit areas, to bring back light at the most strategic locations where those that are still affected can come down into and do all that they need to do, even if it is that they don't have light 5 miles up in the hill. Madam Speaker, I am here to say that it is the best win-win situation that a government could negotiate. Because if we are to wait until April or May, which could be in June, depending on what happens, then I don't know what would happen. I can't say what would happen because it wouldn't be pretty. But most importantly, Madam Speaker, is that originally the estimates for the damage, early assessments, as JPS had said, was between $480 and $600 million. As the assessments have continued in more detail, we are down to $350 million, which is a huge difference between the original estimate and what the estimate is. So the question that's going to come is, what happens with the balance of money that's going to be needed? We were not prepared to go into that discussion, and they have to come back to us because they have put a hold on dividends from July indefinitely until this matter of normalcy is resolved. So we are not going into it and giving money. Just we are making sure that we have our protection mechanisms to make sure we will have oversight in terms of technical people to evaluate those numbers, to put a program in place of the restoration, monitor it, to make sure that what has been given to us as a plan is carried out. So I say to you, Madam Speaker, as of today, November 25th, approximately 75%, 687,339 households and businesses have been reconnected to the JPS grid in less than 4 weeks. Less than 4 weeks. As I said before, they had indicated to me full restoration will not be possible until end of May 2026. And this was mainly due to the inability to raise funds with the 2 years left. Madam Speaker, I want to say to you, before I close, that you know my stance with the JPS when Daryl came. And you know that it didn't end, or it ended well, but it didn't start well. I have seen a complete change, despite the fact there are still gaps. There's no two ways about it. There's areas that are not affected, that still can't get back light, not realizing that the transmission line is coming all the way from the west to the east. They have given me a commitment, Madam Speaker, because you know that I'm someone. So, path 1, which was a JPS's path, was 505 line workers, timeline April, May 2026. I need 5 minutes. 30 minutes more. No.
Minister, you may conclude.
Conclude. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I really appreciate it. Part 2 is 470 line workers with an estimation of January to February 2026. Madam Speaker, for St. Mary, the commitment is to bring back all areas long before Christmas. They say Christmas. They say if they get the equipment here, they will move. They said, Madam Speaker, for Portland, same. For Clarendon, 95%. Remaining 5 will be due to access. This is before Christmas, you know. This is not January, February. Madam Speaker, that's Manchester. St. Anne has some major problems, Madam Speaker. They are saying 80% before Christmas. They have some major issues with the substation at Cardiff Hall. I want to get the Western region, Madam Speaker, and I'll close on this one for you. I'm sure member from Westmoreland here, formerly from Hanover, will be interested in this. Westmoreland, St. James, St. Elizabeth, Trelawney, and Hanover. Currently, as you know, there are several areas that have received light. St. James, Freeport, Hip Strip, Montego Bay Town, Fairway, Witter Village, Shops of Rosal, Spring Garden, Fairfield, Shore, and Coral Gardens. I understand that they are going to be going up into the hills where the tourism workers operate because of tourism coming back on track on December 15th. The other areas, Madam Speaker, is St. Elizabeth, Black River Hospital and Treasure Beach, Hanover Sandy Bay Health Center, Sandy Bay Town, Westmoreland, West End Negril, Savlamar Hospital and Savlamar Town. And last but not least, Madam Speaker, as I said before, 175,000 customers remain to be restored. And we are going to bring that number forward to January, February latest, but we're going to do a push to see what we can do. So for those MPs that are in those areas, if you could furnish me with your areas that you believe would be the most critical areas for Christmas, at least at ease for Christmas. No, it can't be all. I'm sure you'll be understanding of the situation. It won't be all. All won't be till the end of January. Then I think we can work together to make sure with JPS that we use information coming from you and see how we can coordinate. Madam Speaker, I will not detain the House anymore. I thank you for your leniency and to say to you and to say to the people of Jamaica that we have made sure that we have not allowed adversity such as Melissa to take us off track with the negotiation of a new license in 2027 with whoever that is. And we have been able to find a way to bring forward restoration without putting the government or the taxpayers of this country at any exposure in relation to any possibility of not being repaid in some way, shape, or form, including JPS shares, if it comes to that, which, as I said before, 2 years we have a decision. Either there'll be a successful negotiation with the current operator, or the government will have to act and find somebody to come in. And whichever way it goes, the $150 million will be protected, whichever way it goes. I thank you for your time, and I say to you, I know the suffering is hard, but this is a huge, 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 huge move in terms of bringing forward so we can get back to normalcy as quickly as possible. God bless you. God bless Jamaica.